Hello and welcome to one of the most iconic decks of the 2000s, Madness. So our game plan is to beat down with efficiently costed creatures while backing it up with card draw and counter magic. We've also got some neat instant speed tricks that we can play because of this ability, Madness. Whenever we would discard one of these cards, instead of putting it into the graveyard, we can cast it for its Madness cost. So of course, we have a ton of enablers for this ability. These ones are the most common, but you'll probably see these as well at some point. And remember, you untap the lands with Frantic Search before Madness happens, meaning you can use those lands again to pay for the Madness. So there aren't that many Madness cards, so we also have a ton of flashback cards and other cards that are great in the graveyard, such as Wonder that gives our whole team flying. These are the creatures we're using. It's nice that some of them come out at instant speed with Madness, and we're backing those up with these counter spells. Also, some decks do play Mana Leak as well. So we've already talked about these card draw spells. They're awesome and in pretty much every deck. But these ones also synergize very well with what we're trying to do. As a blue-green deck, we don't really have much removal. We do have bounce, and most decks usually play Powder Keg in the sideboard. We're playing all the usual blue-green lands you would expect, but we're also playing Centaur Garden to pump our stuff. We have Cephalid Colosseum for some extra draw and discard if you want that. And of course you have Wasteland to take out all of those annoying non-basics. If you want to add something super spicy, you can add Survival of the Fittest. It obviously goes great with Madness creatures, and it means we can play a toolbox as well if we want that. On a side note, I also really like Mastercore, but I've never really seen any decks play it. The most common splashes I've seen are white playing these cards, and they usually involve a threshold theme with all the fetch lands involving Nimble Mongoose and Werebear. Blue gives us a whole ton of sideboard options, extra counter spells, stuff against red, Gilded Drake. We also have Naturalizing green, which is great, and we do want some graveyard removal too. Also, this card is really good against our deck as we're trying to beat down with just fair, efficient creatures. If you ever have one of these resolved against you, you'll see how annoying it can be. We're a mid-range kind of tempo deck, which means against control and combo, we're trying to beat them down while backing it up with counter magic. And against aggro, we're trying to control the board with our pump effects and instant speed Madness creatures. So the strengths of this deck, it's very cheap, it's beginner friendly, it has really good synergy between the cards, and it's just good against those random tangle wires. The downsides are it's extremely fair, it doesn't do anything crazy or broken, it lacks removal, and we don't really have those bomb cards like Pernicious Deed or Goblin Ringleader that other more fair decks have. So here's another example list, but I do recommend checking out TC Decks. There's tons of awesome lists on there. Thank you for watching and subscribe.